Nobody else talking about that, by the way, so we might as well use it before everyone else figures that out. Ether to 800. I don't know, Hector. That's quite a drop. I don't think I'd be surprised. Maybe in the bear. Look at all these buy blocks on ETH. 800, 885. So where do you get 800 on that? See that? But well, I mean, look, you have maybe a fair value gap, a vector candle down in there, but just you would have to clear all these. The whole implode on that. Okay, so I wouldn't hold out for 800 on ETH, Hector. 1800. All right, you guys, anything else you want to look at? There's always more we can unpack if we want to dive into some news there and see what's going on. But the only news is we're just waiting to see what it's going to be live at 4. Crypto Banter is going to be live if you want to check those guys out. They do a pretty good job. But let's see. Bitcoin price reaction reports that Musk will leave Trump's inner circle. Believe any of that. That seems like FUD. And yeah, I heard something about this. I don't know, you Musk fans. It's 70 million USPX, artificial intelligence, innovation, Cardano. You're not interested in Cardano. And Trump media doing more of that, dabbling in meme coins and their own. Anyone wants to see Ether? For Hector is a buyer. Well, join in that. Hector and I will buy some Ether from you guys. Don't all talk. Take a quick look around the blockchain here. We have our speculative degen. Osmosis has been interesting in the past, but you can't really buy it except on the Osmosis. It's sort of double bottoming, but that's not enough. These are all speculative degen coins. If we find support zones, we're on a weekly chart here. Hedera, maybe it's at its 50-week. And we talked about it earlier on daily. The TSI on Hedera coming down in the red zone. If that starts to go green, maybe. It's flipping previous resistance as Atlas, not much. What's up with Pirate Chain? It just kind of died. I'm holding some Pirate Chain. It's moon or dust, I guess, on these. And some Brett token. I'm not even sure what those are up to. Charles wants to look at. We talked about that before. Okay, interesting. My concern would be it'll come back to this price in the middle of that fair value gap. There's a big buy block here, and so it's also true that maybe they'll support their prices up into this range. I don't know anything about it. It's oversold on the weekly chart. On the daily chart, clean this up. I don't love this. You have either support or there's this midpoint of the candle fair value gap that, yeah, you've got some sell. One of your moon or bust ones, Charles. I wouldn't be buying more. I wouldn't necessarily sell it, but you've got all this sell pressure up above. And, any pushes higher will likely be met with sells resistance. Now, there is an RSI bullish divergence, but we don't like to act on these unless there's 2 or 3 of these. And so these are both still red, TSI red, and reevaluate on what you're doing there. I wouldn't hold more than, $500, $1,000 of this. This is kind of one of those moon or bust ones we have in the moon or bust category, right?